At Kroger, shopping with pickup and delivery is the same as shopping in-store. Same low prices, deals, and rewards on the same high-quality items. It's one small click for groceries, one big win for busy families everywhere. Start your cart today at Kroger.com. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
And right now, stock up on your favorites during the 10 for 10 sale. Mix and match participating items and get 10 for just $10 with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
You're listening to Two Chunks and a Hunk. Movie musings for mostly everyone. And welcome to Two Chunks and a Hunk. My name is Jordan Wonders, and this week I'm your hunk.
I'm Doge, and just have a hunk out there.
And I'm Carter, and you hunky, John? Yeah. Yeah.
No Carter, your Keanu's getting like John Wick. Good.
It's fun, man. Listen.
Your Keanu's getting very good.
It's come so far.
It's Keanu.
Pretty Keanu. Where are we all hunks?
Keanu.
Dude, the simplest reason I can possibly think of. We all got to see John Wick 4 with our own very own eyes.
Live. We saw it together.
Yeah. It was fun.
That's a big deal. We record over Zoom. We're not often in the same place.
It's good energy, man.
Yeah, it's I care less about that than I do the fact that we got to see John Wick 4.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know? And I'm going to be honest. I'm just ready to start talking about it.
Let's do it.
Let's just start talking about it. So the movie we're talking about today is, of course, John Wick. Chapter 4. Chapter 4 even.
It's important to note that the first half of this episode, we're going to keep it spoiler free. That way, if you want to go see this movie but you haven't yet, you're still invited to this party. After shout announcements, we're going to spoil your whole situation.
Yeah, we'll let you know, though, if you've seen one John Wick, he does kill some people. So that is not a spoiler. So don't get bummed when you're like, wait, what do you mean he shot someone?
Yeah. So let's commit right now. We're going to save super pumps and dumps till after just so we don't get too specific on accident. Doge, give me a synopsis so we can start talking.
This week's IMDb synopsis is anonymous, which of course means the movie just came out today. John Wick uncovers a path to defeating the High Table. But before he can earn his freedom, Wick must face off against a new enemy with powerful alliances across the globe and forces that turn old friends into foes.
Very good. That about sums it up, huh?
That's very about it. That's about all it is.
Don't know why Nick wouldn't just say his name, but...
I know.
That's
strange. Here's the thing.
John Wick might not be out yet over there.
We could keep the first half of the episode to 1 minute if we wanted to, because if you're wondering if you should go see this,
yeah, go see it.
Hey,
go see it.
Yeah, you should go see this.
Yeah.
If you liked the first 3 John Wicks, then congratulations, you're going to love John Wick 4. If you didn't see the first 3 John Wicks, watch the first 3 John Wicks, then go watch John Wick 4. There's no reason not to see this movie. It is a total... I mean, I had the thought last night in the theater that this is what like a blockbuster movie is all about.
Yeah.
That it's action-packed.
It's real Keanu's in real suits doing real stunts.
Yep.
That joke's coming up on a year old.
I do think what the almost 3 hour runtime gave us, though, was touch more lull. You know, it wasn't like boring
which
lull.
Was right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Room to build the world a little more.
Probably the slowest John Wick movie.
Probably the slowest. Yeah. But with good reason.
Yeah, I want to be clear. It's the slowest in a positive way. Like it lets the world breathe enough to, for instance, we actually have a handful of characters that we get to know.
Yeah.
Versus just fight alongside.
Right.
There's space to breathe. if you're looking for people to keep your eyes peeled for during the movie, I would say don't blink or go to the bathroom anytime Donnie Yen is on screen.
No, yeah.
Let's talk through like kind of a spoiler-free version of like, let's talk about some of the new characters for a second. Can we do that spoiler-free? Is that possible, you guys think?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So
how do we feel about Donnie Yen? How do we feel as a group about Donnie Yen as Kane in this movie?
Best character they've added to the John Wick franchise since it started.
I would agree.
I don't even know what's in the trailers about Kane because I don't think I actually watched any trailers for this movie. I realized last night I hadn't seen a moment of footage from this. So I don't actually even want to go into detail about Kane because if these details about him aren't in the trailer, then it's such a special moment when you realize what his whole like hook as a character is. I was shocked with the direction that they went with it, and Donnie Yen just puts on a masterclass in what he does best, which is fighting.
Oh, yeah.
I mean...
Oh, yeah. Chad, is it Stahelski?
Yeah. Yes.
Are we going with that? So one of the things that really stood out to me in John Wick 4 is something that I might have touched on a little bit before, but I think John Wick was incredibly aware of itself as a narrative. Movie 1. I think it super fleshed out John Wick 2, but something we did here too, even in our fights, it's different levels of like narrative choreography. I've seen John Wick often described as like gun fu, and it's perfect.
It's a kung fu movie, 100%.
Yeah, that's gun fu.
With gun. Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The ethos of the John Wick series is kung fu, but with guns. Like one lone fighter versus 10,000 opponents.
Yes.
Like it's exactly that.
One of the things I appreciated the most about John Wick Chapter 4 is with all of these introductions of these new bad expletive characters, like we held our cards really well. Like we just kind of, Donnie Yen hasn't fought yet. Like Kane is just kind of sitting in the wings.
Right.
And I'm already seeing amazing things happen on screen, right? No, it's not a spoiler that there's awesome choreography, some gun fu action, wonderfully beautiful sets and stuff. And then Donnie Yen's character Kane is just kind of chilling and hasn't fought yet. But you can already tell there's this built-up gravitas around who this dude is.
Yes.
And anybody who's close to John, you would imagine, is pretty talented. And so when we finally see it happen, it paid off in a big way. And I was like, of course it did, dude.
But that's something to be said for the pace and the I don't like the word lull because lull sounds like sleepy. The more intentional pacing of this movie, the more methodical pacing of this movie lets us have a build up to a fight versus the fight just beginning.
I think this movie does that.
Appreciate.
I think this movie does that better than maybe any of the other John Wicks. I think
100%.
This one in particular knows exactly when not to overplay its hand.
Yep.
Like it maintains a consistent escalation throughout the film. And I think, so for example, in John Wick 3, we have our explosive, coolest action sequence of the movie, the knife fight in the museum place at the very beginning of the movie. And then everything since that is awesome, absolutely. But I'm still comparing it a little bit to that knife fight, and it does sort of fall short of that. I think something that John Wick 4 does better than any other John Wick is to maintain that escalation all the way through, where everything that you see is the coolest thing that you've seen yet in John Wick 4. And it stays that way until the very end.
I mostly agree. The fight in the Continental at the beginning.
Osaka?
Yeah, the Osaka fight. Yeah. No, that's not a spoiler. I mean, locations. If locations are a spoiler for you, sorry. But the fight in the Osaka Continental at the beginning is maybe the second or third best fight scene in the whole movie. It's so cool.
It's very cool.
It is unbelievably cool. And that I would say that permeates this entire movie. This John Wick is the coolest entry. Like everything is so sleek. It is so tight. I think that cinematography and music, this movie stands head and shoulders above the other three.
It's a perfection of the formula. I really, really do think that this is like if you're only gonna watch one John Wick, they've perfected it in this one.
I agree.
Yeah, first 3 chapters, we really got to know John, obviously. And John is pretty simple. I like that his character isn't super multi-layered, right?
Yep.
But yeah, especially with this pace is we get to build on other characters. And it is a testament to how great the world building has been so far to create kind of this canvas or this sandbox to be like, hey, let's focus in. This is the least amount of John that we get on screen. And it's not, John's please don't be discouraged if you're listening to this. Yeah, if you haven't seen it yet. He's still on screen for 2 hours and 20 minutes. I mean, it's
actually probably about the same amount of John we've always gotten. There's just more room to have
movie around him.
John. Yeah.
Especially with how they choose to like hold off on John at the beginning. They really do use him. Like I was joking earlier when I said he's like a kaiju, but it does feel like 2014 Godzilla when it's like we're all sitting, waiting, watching because we know Godzilla is going to come out of the ocean. And we show people reacting to and preparing for the eventuality that Godzilla will emerge from the ocean. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly how we treat John for the first like 30 minutes of this movie is people kind of just, okay, he's going to end up fighting.
Yeah.
Just building that anticipation is super, super masterfully
It's just when
executed.
it's when you're also, like you go to the concert and the opener, you're like, oh shoot, I could chill with you guys for a couple more songs before the main guy comes. You know, it's like, it just makes the overall experience so much better.
Totally.
Because it's also so pretty.
This is the most beautiful John Wick movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's just so great.
It's gorgeous to look at. The cinematography is on another level. The lighting and the way they play with colors is so different, but also so John Wick.
Yeah. It's just different shades of neon.
Yeah. It really is. I mean, the colors of this movie are like traffic light green and like a pinkish reddish orange. Mm-hmm. That's John Wick 4. But you can see where the budget is. There's at no point was I like
$90 million for this one.
Where did all this budget go? You can see exactly where this budget went.
Yeah.
Every shot looks amazing.
Something that's interesting to me about John Wick, even though it's kind of trailblazing its own vibe in terms of action, it somehow manages to use things that are normally pretty tropey and make you forget that they're tropey. Meaning that multiple locations, right? Like most big action movies are like, now we're in Berlin, now Osaka, now Paris. And they're just picking
like
the big towns we've always seen.
Huge
and
drone
we're just
shots
going
of these
there.
European cities. Yeah.
But because John Wick is always about let him fight in the coolest location, I just get excited every time we're in a new location.
Yeah. Or has something different in his hands.
For sure.
I've seen him fight with the hind legs of thoroughbreds. You know, it's like he can.
Yeah.
I don't care what's in his hands. And so to see things like there were stills of him having nunchucks. And so one spoiler here. And so just to see that is like, man, I can't wait. I can't wait. And it is so tropey that here's this person who's the most capable, right? That's the ultimate action trope.
Yeah.
They speak every language. They're well-versed with every weapon. But there's just the Keanu of it all.
Yep.
Is I don't care.
No, not at all.
It's so weird.
I will say I don't think this is a spoiler at all. This does mark the second John Wick movie where we have seen him dismantle a gun and stab people with the pointy parts of the gun that he has taken apart.
That's incredibly cool.
And it's never not awesome. It's never not awesome. Which I think is something you can say about the John Wick franchise as a whole. It's just its greatest strength is that it is never not awesome.
It is always doing whatever the coolest thing possible.
100%. 100%. The general, I guess you could call it like the ethos of John Wick is that the coolest way we could do this? Then let's do that.
Then we'll do it that way.
We get John Wick fighting in sort of like fake rain, which is hard to explain unless you're seeing the movie, but it's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
What a great way to get a rainy fight without it being a rainy fight.
So that's reportedly the way that Stahelski and Keanu, I mean, they come up with the ideas for these movies. And I was reading an interview with Stahelski last night where he's talked about every John Wick movie has been conceptualized over a glass of Japanese whiskey me and Keanu sitting and talking about what if we did this? And like it always starts pie in the sky of like, can you imagine if John Wick knew the pressure point on a horse where he could tap it and make it kick somebody's head off? And then they start talking and they fall in love with that idea and they go, wait, we could actually do this. Actually, that's John Wick 3. Let's make John Wick 3. So that's like, I don't know. I think it's cool to see confirmation from Stahelski that they're both sitting around like, what's the coolest thing John could do?
Yeah,
Let's make a movie where he does that.
Totally.
Yeah. And it's so much their relationship. I think the magic of the John Wick franchise is the relationship Stahelski and Keanu had before they even got to the set.
Agreed.
With things that they've done, because they've worked on stunt choreography together. I guess I wish I knew the beginnings of their relationship. I'd love to see these two sit down and get interviewed. Well, I mean, even before that, right? It's like, did they just meet on set? Like, I want to know everything. Like, I want to just know how they locked in and were like, hey, someday, was there some promise made? That maybe there'll be a media junket clip that we can see these two together.
I'm thinking we're going to make an action movie together.
The excellence that just comes from, even we've talked about the A-listers before, and I would even say, Donnie Yen is not really an A-list actor. Neither is Bill Skarsgård. I think Halle Berry has been the biggest name besides Keanu Reeves that has been in the John Wick franchise.
Yeah.
But to come on set, and we even heard from her, imagine coming onto the John Wick set and just seeing these two interact without them saying, hey, we need your best here. You know that's what you want to deliver.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think from the jump, I think from the first John Wick, it probably felt like that. People were like, oh my God, man.
Yeah.
They're taking it. This is the guy. This is the actor.
Well, I can't
even try and step in for him.
And Willem Dafoe in your first entry in a series unless you have Keanu's name attached and the promise is this will be excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm just thinking of the vibe too of if you're already billed, like you're already getting paid for this. Because it's just so, everything is just so, it's like going to the orchestra and being like, I can't believe, and it's not like I have the perfect ear for music, but when you have this many players, right, 60 or 70 in the pit, and it doesn't feel like there was ever a mistake, it just all feels perfect. It's like, who is setting the pace here,
Sure.
And it just feels like every frame is just so fun. It's so rewatchable.
Yeah.
For all of the best and worst ways.
If it was streaming right now, I would go press play. I'm not kidding. I would go press play the moment we're done and spend the next 3 hours of my day rewatching John Wick 4.
Yeah.
I genuinely think I could watch it again with, I'll say this. This is as we come to a close on our spoiler-free segment here to kind of convince you to go see this movie. The guys can attest because I guarantee they heard me. I giggled.
Yeah.
Through most of this movie, not because I was laughing at it, but because I was giggling like when you're going down a hill on a roller coaster and you are overcome with joy at what you are doing.
Yeah,
I literally watched so much of this movie, mouth completely open in a full grin. Yeah. And the number of times that I was like,
yeah.
What are they doing?
Speaking of roller coasters, movies like this need to have how you can get the picture at the peak point. Yeah.
I'll tell you exactly.
You could time it.
I'll tell you exactly after our spoiler section when the best picture of me would have been because I don't think I do this. I was grinning from ear to ear at one point in this movie, and I will talk about in 10 years seeing one scene in particular in the movie theater and how blown my mind was.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up our spoiler-free section, anything worth noting about other new characters in case somebody's listening?
Yes, 100%.
John's boring, but tell me about Tracker. Tell me about Hiroyuki Sanada.
Yeah, Shamir Anderson he's credited in IMDb as Tracker. Callie and I have been referring to him as Nobody, which is what he calls himself, refers to himself
Mr.
as
Nobody
in the movie. It was the creativity of adding these characters and giving them a fresh life and a fun characterization. It is at an all-time high here. And I think for me, Kane, but also in particular Tracker / Nobody is like the pinnacle of let's create a mysterious, awesome character that just slots right into this world.
I was about to say, they are the two John Wickest characters that have
100%.
ever been in a John Wick movie. Like they, I don't know, they're simultaneously the tropiest thing you can imagine and the freshest thing you can imagine, which is John Wick, I think. But man, I could not get enough of Tracker and of Kane.
Completely agree.
Yeah.
If you like the dog stuff from John Wick 3, there's more
Always
where
gonna
that
be
came
dog
from
stuff.
here.
Yeah.
Always going to be dog. John Wick 4 is, John Wick as a franchise is unashamedly pro dog. And I do appreciate that they're taking that stance.
If you haven't seen it,
environment.
If you haven't seen it, just hit pause and buy your ticket right now. Just go. You're not going to regret
Yeah,
it.
go.
It is. I don't think we have to convince anybody, but in case we do, just go. It's so good. Yeah. Let's shout announcements it up. Welcome to Shout Announcements. This is the part of the show where we give shout outs and make announcements. Shout out to Doge for this announcement.
And shout out to Jordan and Carter for hearing this announcement. And you, hopefully, listener, if you are listening to this episode on release day, you have until midnight tonight to cast your vote for the movies to be included in our next series. We're going to go through some forgotten animated movies from the late 90s, early 90s. I don't know when they're all from, just from back in the day. That are
it's
not
like the
Disney
dozen time. Yeah.
It is. Yeah. It's kind of around the time Disney was making all their big moves. Don Bluth and folks like him said, actually, I can do that too. So we're having you guys choose the 4 movies that will be part of the series. Like I said, voting closes at midnight tonight. If you're listening to this on release day, stay tuned to our social channels so you'll find out what movie we're going to be talking about next week.
What's she saying?
She said, I didn't get that. Could you try again?
Hey, if I had a nickel for every time somebody said that to me,
what an absolutely ruthless editor Siri is for our podcast.
Terrible. I mean, if you're not on Patreon, what are you doing? Just get on Patreon. We got good stuff. We got a Discord. We got bonus apps. We got extra votes in series, which you could sign up right now and go ahead and do your extra vote real quick.
Can say that like 2nd through 6th place are very close.
Yep.
Me and the guys were talking about how it's just kind of like how the Western Conference standings in the NBA are right now, you know?
Yeah, I actually brought that up.
Yeah. So close.
I just think that
intense.
If Gonzaga doesn't step it up.
The NBA. Talk about the NBA. I gave that one to you. That's fine.
Gonzaga plays basketball.
They do.
If Gonzaga, I was having a really hard time getting past how rude that was of you, Carter. If Gonzaga doesn't step it up, then the NBA won't have enough prospects to continue the Western Conference being as tight as it is. We're done?
Yeah.
At Kroger, shopping with pickup and delivery is the same as shopping in-store. Same low prices, deals, and rewards on the same high-quality items. It's one small click for groceries, one big win for busy families everywhere. Start your cart today at Kroger.com. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
And right now, stock up on your favorites during the 10 for 10 sale. Mix and match participating items and get 10 for just $10 with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Welcome to the spoiler-filled section of the John Wick 4 podcast.
We can have fun on this episode, finally.
I'm going to start things off nice and easy. I'm going to lob a quick little softball here. My super dump. Because I, honest to God, don't have one. I have decided after thinking for quite literal hours, my super dump is that I really could have used more of the new characters. If we're going to introduce somebody as dope as Kane and Tracker / Nobody, I want to see even more of them than we got.
Yeah.
That is my only complaint. I could have watched this movie for 3 more hours. If this movie was 7 hours long, as long as you give me a bathroom break, give me an intermission in the middle, I have no complaints.
Yeah.
Literally none. this is about as perfect as John Wick could get, I think.
Yeah.
So I got irritated legitimately in John Wick Chapter 4.
Okay.
Because it felt like, and here's my super dump. I talked a bit about tropiness at the front half of this podcast. It feels like 80% of our lines, it's like if you hear a drip or something that's been a part of your life or a part of your house for a long time, and then you can't stop focusing on that, it distracted me. It
It's
felt
like if your fan
every
starts
line,
making noise.
It felt like every line was trying to be a nugget or some ancient. We had a ton of callbacks, which were great, and y'all are going to have to help me, or you can just you can leave me out to dry because I'm not totally sure how to explain it. But each line was like, I'm going to set you up with a fable or like an old saying, and then you respond back to me. It just felt like there were so many rules and things that we lived by. I really, really don't know how to explain it. I would have to look. There's not much quotes because it's so new.
Yeah.
But I think once that quotes thing fills up, it got a touch exhausting in a way that John Wick hasn't been for me.
Yeah.
In that, like,
it
felt
very,
so much like if you live long enough to be the villain, if you never live long enough to be the hero, you turn into the villain.
It's
every
like a
single
combination
scene
of Chris Nolan and Fortune Cookie.
Yes, dude. There were so many like, three assassins walk into a bar. One of them, everything was like the dialogue just felt like episodes of like trying to sound really cool.
Yeah.
And I almost did an eye roll in a scene that was really cool when they're actually playing the card game. It just felt so drawn out. It was like he has three things, and they get mixed up in my head. So when Skarsgård character is saying about Kane and Wick and comparing the two, you either live to die or you die to live, or you live to kill or you live to save. He has all three, one has none. It was like there were so many of these, and I was just like, what? But what's funny is with such scatter shooting of that, so many of them were really cool. And I was like, I guess they just couldn't pick which one.
I think that's why it didn't bother me, because it was just like,
sure.
Either.
Yeah.
Everything they said.
And I felt like it was going to be unique for me. But it was one of those things, And I tend to be pretty obsessive just in my life about little things. And I think that's what happened, is I kind of caught that. And I was like, man, they really have saturated the beginning of this movie, this first 30 minutes, with just a bunch of that kind of stuff. It's like, that's why when we finally get from Winston before the duel, when he says, have fun out there, that was hilarious. I think it's really funny because in some way it felt like it was really aware of itself, because it was just being so broody and assassiny and stuff. And then it's just like, have a blast, it like stood out, juxtaposing against all of these, like, I don't know. It got a little tiresome for me.
I really felt like, Kane and nobody helped the levity a lot, because Kane was so like blasé about everything he did, and nobody was very much like part of the world, but still kind of like shocked and annoyed at the world. So he was very much like part of that Assassin's underground world, but also was like, no. I set the price, dude. No way.
Yep.
No way. Like I think the most refreshing thing about nobody's character, besides just being awesome, and I've never seen him in anything, and I thought he was excellent.
He was really good.
But I think the best part about his character to me was that he was very much, you could tell he was so confident in his abilities, because he was like, it's a buyer's market, baby.
Yep.
Have we all finally crossed the threshold into where I've been for 2 movies now and love the Bowery King, or are you guys still going to pretend that he's not
I
amazing?
like the Bowery King.
Yeah,
I think he's cool.
Yeah, baby.
This was the most turned down he was. I liked this version of the Bowery King.
Yeah.
You're pathetic.
I don't even know what to say. Can I say something else about Tracker?
I'll super dumb to jump us off to something else.
Okay, go ahead then.
Yeah, let's knock him
No,
all
you
out.
can go. You can go.
I don't want to just like stop talking about Tracker. I bet it comes up again. But I think the coolest thing about Nobody, which it's tough to do Mr. Nobody when there's another one.
I had the same thought.
This one's much cooler, but anyways.
The other is Kurt Russell.
In a world where everyone is so incredibly aware of each other, the fact that nobody knows who he is.
I know.
And he's
That's
so
really
capable
cool.
is great. I hope the John Wick-averse keeps existing in some form. We can talk about why we think it might not, but we need to never know his background, in my personal opinion.
Yeah.
I never want to know who Tracker is.
Agreed.
Please don't get hung up. That's when I started to realize things like the John Wick-averse measured against the MCU. MCU can get messy when we have so many variables. I mean, it's times 2,000, right? Mm-hmm. But I don't need to know who you are. Please, it would be so refreshing. Keep some mystery. Please never tell me.
Keep using Tracker, but don't tell me anything about him.
Keep using him. I don't need to know.
Dude, that lever action rifle that just like shoots people off their feet is so sick.
Yeah.
Backpack that turns into bullet vest.
Oh my God. It was
that's so cool.
With cartridges and stuff in it. Stop.
So cool. Go ahead and super jump so we can start wigging out about some of the
something that wasn't unbelievably cool to me.
Sure.
Was German dude in his club, the guy who killed Piotr, who John needed.
Wrong. Continue.
German dude was a cartoon.
Yes.
He was a cartoon.
Yes, of course.
He was fat bastard. I'm so over that. I don't know. It was just so silly to me.
Yeah.
It was like I could look at the IMDb credits and find out that it was Mike Myers. You know, that it was Michael Myers.
It was a little bit like Schmidt in every flashback in New Girl.
It was.
Oh my gosh, that was it.
It was just like, man, this especially
100%.
I was expecting him to choke himself and be like, just let me die.
Yeah, what is this doing in this movie? Like, I love the character. Like, I absolutely love the character, loved everything about it. The presentation of the character, I think, was just like, this is from Austin Powers. Like, what is going on?
Yeah, especially when we see how agile the character is later. You know, the roundhouse kicks, which is fun.
Sure, I'm all down. I'm so down for John having to fight a big dude who is like a legitimate physical threat to him. But like this plus the faces he was making, plus like the face that his face stayed when he died. I don't know, man. It was just a total cartoon. Even the lines he had were super cool. One thinks he can serve his way out. One thinks he can kill his way out. One thinks he can buy his way out. Like, he's a cool character, written cool, performed in a kind of annoying way.
Yeah, I think...
I loved it.
I don't want... The thing about John Wick is I'm so proud of it and I love it so much. I don't want it to look like other things too much. And when we start doing these over... characterized characters sometimes, like this character, character. It feels like Sin City.
Yes.
It feels like comic book.
Sure.
And it kind of takes me out a little bit.
See, John Wick to me from the beginning has just felt like a graphic novel that never existed.
I think there's a difference though between like Theon Greyjoy and the crime family in the first John Wick, and then this absolute cartoon of a card playing assassin guy who killed Piotr. And I even think there's a fine line between Donnie Yen being basically Daredevil in this movie and then this guy being a cartoon. I think the Daredevil stuff with Donnie Yen like worked 99% of the time for me. I think there even were times with Donnie Yen where I was like, really though? Like that, he couldn't if he was real. You know what I mean?
I'm genuinely shocked by both your super dump and that take on Donnie Yen. That's fine.
Love Donnie Yen. It took me a second to come around to like, okay, I can believe in the world of John Wick that this dude with this, what seems to be a huge disadvantage in the world of assassinating, can actually hold his own against other assassins. It took me a second to get on board.
I didn't have any issues with King.
John Wick 3 involved somebody giving John a prophecy that if he walked in the desert until he died, that the Elder would simply find him or wouldn't. And then it did happen. Like that he just basically walked out to like a sultan in the middle of the desert that just had a tent out in the middle of it. I don't know. To me, the hang up on a cartoony fat suit and a blind guy that can fight because his other senses are so good is a funny hang up to me to have in a series that has been getting that we have been applauding for getting progressively more crazy.
And I do want to be clear, I have no problem at all with Donnie Yen. Like it just, when it first started, I was like, oh, this is a little strange. And then they 100% like proved the concept.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, Donnie Kane was almost my super pump.
He would have been, he was my super pump until about 2 hours and 15 minutes into the movie.
Yeah.
When the best thing I've ever seen in a movie happened, and I'm going to go ahead and super pump right now. if that's okay with everybody.
Too.
Yeah.
My super pump is the isometric top-down dragon's breath shotgun scene.
That's so cool. Same. And I love that they did the whole thing and then we cut back to John and I was like, are they going to do it again? Are they going to do it again? And they did it again. It was that short.
They do that twice in this movie. They do that twice in this movie. He fights all the way up the stairs, throw him down to the bottom, and he just starts again.
Fight again.
I just want to talk about this dragon's breath shotgun scene for just a minute. First of all, the entire final fight, basically from...
Consider me your sponsor on this because I have the same super pump. So
okay,
I'm
also
having
have the same super pump.
Awesome.
Okay, Jordan, talk about it for him.
I just want to say that from basically the moment that the Bowery King shows up and rearms John Wick to the end of the movie is the best sequence in John Wick history. But when John rolls up to this building and our camera goes up like a top-down video game and we just see John...
Looks like he's fighting through the Clue house.
Dude.
It's absolutely a video game.
My guy honestly kills probably 40 people in this house, if not more.
Yeah.
With this fire breath shotgun. I mean, it's a flamethrower shotgun, basically. I only know what these bullets are because of Call of Duty. But it essentially shoots like... what's the word I'm looking for?
Unbelievable, dude.
It shoots flames. That's the only way I know how to say it.
Incendiary rounds.
Yes, that's the word. Thank you.
It's like the end of Mulan, basically.
Yes, right. But dude, the colors, the shots, the flames,
That's the thing is like, it's cool, but it's also a phenomenal technical achievement with our match move rig up above the set that's moving this around.
Yes.
Plus real pyrotechnics going off on set in time with the choreography, all in a single take. Like there's some room for cuts. Like you can basically shoot each room individually if you need to, as long as your blocking is good. But I'd be really curious how many takes that actually took because it's so much having to work together and, I mean, no pun intended, fire on all cylinders at the exact right time every time. It's just a logistical achievement.
This is the scene where I was grinning from ear to ear, laughing out loud.
Yeah.
And I genuinely had the thought, this is the most creative fight scene I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's super, super unbelievably cool.
It was, and just the way that they made sure that everyone interacting was just in the shot enough to see people.
Yes.
Like I didn't miss anything. I didn't miss any action, but there was so much going on. And how we just kept John in the center and it was dumb. It felt like magic to me. For someone who doesn't know technically where the cuts could be or things like that or doesn't pay as much attention, I was just like, what on earth? That could have gone on for an hour.
Yeah, I would have been fine with it.
I could the whole
and
movie
that's what it was also like, this is the video game.
Yep.
Do it. It's easy. This could be a mobile game. Just do this.
Those 12 minutes are worth the price of admission to the movie alone.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it is, that scene is action movie perfection.
Yep. Agreed.
Yeah.
So I actually have 2 super pumps for this movie.
I almost did.
I split myself like Dr. Jekyll did. I have a super pump for my ape brain and a super pump for my man brain.
Sure.
Ape brain says top down fire gun. Very cool. Me like so much. If we're done talking about that, I can give you the super pump for my man brain as well.
I don't want to be done talking about it, but it's smart.
The super pump for my man brain is that this is a lucrative franchise that is consistently receiving rave reviews from critics and audiences that had the balls to end. John Wick could be over. John Wick could end. And that is something that no other franchise on the planet is willing to do right now.
Yeah.
I think you're going to eat those words,
though.
So John Wick
is so tough. What do you do?
So that's the
thing. We know for sure about it.
This is the one, like even movies, even other franchises that have a soft ending, it's not as hard of a soft ending as this. I think we could argue that this is a soft ending. We don't see John actually die. We just see a grave plot. So, he's probably,
we don't know.
He's probably alive. John Wick 5 is soft confirmed. It was soft confirmed back in 2020. Haven't heard much about it since, so it's possible this is the last one. But they also did make sure to lampshade that there are 12 members of the High Table, which we know John has a special connection to the number 12 because his impossible task was to kill 12 men on a single night. I think John Wick 5 has the opportunity to basically be John Wick 1 again, call him out of retirement for one impossible task, and then he's done forever.
Yeah.
But still.
Well, and now he's doing it on behalf of the he's also got, it feels like he owes a lot of people a lot.
Yeah.
He's losing close friends and stuff. And he's like, you know what? In my mind, if there is another John Wick, it's that he's like, let's just end it for everybody.
Yeah.
I'm so tired of this. Let's just cut the head off the snake and then it's done. But you're right. It was so unique because I was so torn. I was shocked that John Wick is dead.
Yeah.
That it could be it.
Sure.
Like it could be over.
Sure.
Of course, I read so many articles this morning and last night, but there's so many people that are pulling from, and I heard it too when Winston was like, I don't know where he is in heaven or hell. It could mean that he literally doesn't know where John is because he himself has said he wants to go into secrecy and not tell anybody. Right?
Sure, maybe there's two nightclubs in New York. There's the Heaven nightclub and the Hell nightclub.
That was my thought, is that there's a real locations that he might be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. I fully appreciated. I mean, it's also just too beautiful for him to be on the church steps and his last word to be Helen.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a part of me too that's like, he should be dead.
Oh, I want to be clear. Yeah. I'm very okay either way. If John is dead, then what a great ending to a great character. I don't think he is. With all the talk about, Hercules had his Hydra, John has his head table.
Sure.
I still think that there is a final movie where John takes out all 12 of the table. I really do.
So I appreciate that they've left it open. Yeah. Like the fourth entry in a franchise that everybody says, I want more of these forever and ever. They've left it open enough that a fifth John Wick doesn't feel like, oh my God, they're doing another one.
Yep.
But this being the last John Wick makes sense. Even narratively, thematically, it makes sense that this whole movie is reckoning with, am I the kind of person, am I honoring Helen's memory by doing all of this killing to be done killing? This is not the person she wanted me to be. The whole loving husband on his grave plot, I think,
love
is just
that. I think
back
great.
to the core, John's core crisis of identity. That was the narrative thrust of John Wick that we've kind of lost over John Wick 2 and 3 as he's become the Terminator.
Yep. I think that the post-credit scene points to a guaranteed spinoff, a guaranteed, 100% guaranteed spinoff.
Well, we already know there's another one. So Ballerina is coming out. It's like in production, post-production right now.
I don't think it's already shot yet. I think it's in pre-production still. Has it already shot?
Oh. Yeah, I read post, I think, today. But
well,
that's because I was looking at, because Lance Reddick has, and we can talk a little bit more about that, but Lance Reddick has 7 upcoming projects. So there were 5 of them that were basically done. And I think one of them was Ballerina.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know there's also a Continental spinoff show that's supposed to be coming to NBC this fall. That's a backstory of how Winston became the manager of the Continental. I think I remember reading that was in jeopardy of being canceled. So it might not happen.
It doesn't sound interesting to me.
Ballerina is in post-production and it releases this year.
Oh, wow.
Cool. This is a series or a movie?
No, it's a movie. Anna de Armas is of that family.
She's a graduate.
So remember when we saw the ballerinas and stuff in John Wick 2, I think? She's from the ballet school.
So it's something
Young
happening.
female assassin seeks revenge against the people who killed her family.
Something happening concurrently with John Wick 2 or 3, probably.
Sure. Yeah, Lance Reddick, Anna de Armas, Keanu Reeves, Ian McShane, Norman Reedus.
Yeah, I'll watch it. I'll watch it for sure.
Well, duh.
I think that the post-credit scene is a for sure teaser of more Kane doing more things. Cool. We do not have hardly any time left at all. So let's do this. Let's rapid fire Chris Farley real quick. Make sure we don't miss anything. And then let's rate this movie. So Donnie Yen acting blind while he fights.
Again.
Amazing.
Weird
That's so hard.
Weird again. Weird that he did that in Rogue One and in this.
I know.
That's true. It is such a flex though in this one. This was like he's a good actor. It's not just like we're using Donnie Yen because he's a good fighter.
Yep.
Because the way that he's just nonchalantly tossing things around, and he's quicker than anyone else in this movie, by the way.
Man, Donnie Yen was
he is noticeably faster than anybody else. And I don't know if it's because other people aren't capable or they were like, Kane needs to look the fastest.
I just think you can
Obviously, all
see the
this stuff
skill
came
when
in
Donnie Yen fights. He's just unbelievable.
Gosh.
He's just unbelievable. The doorbell scene when he sticks the doorbells to the walls.
Doorbells
and people
are really
walk by
cool.
them, so sick.
Hiroyuki Sanada, I believe, is wearing the exact same shape and frame color of glasses that Gary Oldman wears in The Dark Knight. So every time that you could only barely see Hiroyuki Sanada in the background of a shot, I was like, oh, is that Jim Gordon? No, it's not.
Not Jim.
Hiroyuki Sanada's, I guess his daughter, who is also the concierge.
His concierge.
She's bad, dude.
Yeah,
I want more of her.
Akira.
I want more of her.
Certain.
She's cool.
See, I kind of think she's the guaranteed spinoff with Kane as like an antagonist.
Maybe. I just think
I think if we're going for the head, if we're going for the head table, just get Kane and nobody. Like let's just go all three of us go kill the head table. Let's talk about Bill Skarsgård as Marquis. Thought it was great.
Yeah.
Great. I have not seen Bill Skarsgård dressed up as like a pretty Skarsgård boy.
He's a handsome fella.
Because of this, boy, the John Mayer vibes were.
I was about to say, dude, he looks just like John Mayer in this.
Strong.
Whoa.
Unbelievably strong.
Wow.
Oh my
dude,
gosh.
I didn't even see that, but now I can't not see it.
Yeah. No thank you to Tracker pulling his hand through a knife. Didn't need that. That was completely unnecessary.
That was a yikes.
Ew.
I did love the moment.
He became a Ninja Turtle when he did that.
He did.
I did love the moment with Tracker whenever basically John earns his trust by saving his dog. Yep. I just love, I don't know, I love that through line that we keep coming back to. That's like John loves dogs so much. And everybody loves the John loves dogs.
We don't know where that one is.
Yeah, that's true.
Not sure where the pit bull is, but that's okay.
Well, Bowery King had it.
But
did he? Yeah.
Yeah, Bowery King had the pit bull at John's grave, but I don't know who the pit bull was with in New York while everybody was off in Paris.
Gotcha.
Probably Jason Mantzoukas, just taking care of it the whole time.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought that Tracker, anytime he fought, was very engaging. He fought differently than the way John or Kane fights. He was a lot more like physically aggressive when he was close range.
Yeah.
And his dog, the commands of nuts, is hilarious to me.
Yeah, that's very good.
I laughed every single time he gave that command. Man,
falling down the stairs didn't. So the first time that he fell down the stairs in John Wick 2 was my super dump because it felt very hot rod. This one was even longer, but I was kind of okay with it. It almost, part of it felt like they were trying to break some kind of stunt record.
Yeah.
And I was like,
totally.
Is that worth? And do you feel like we were supposed to laugh?
Yes.
Were we supposed to laugh?
Yeah,
okay,
I
good.
think so.
Because you can't not.
Yes.
You know,
I think it was supposed to be funny.
Yeah, as aware of itself as John Wick is, the one thing that does seem to be a little bit chaotic neutral is humor.
Yeah.
I don't know when it's supposed to be funny or not.
I think that
and
because...
it's like out of reverence, it's like, I'm so sorry, Mr. Wick. I didn't mean to laugh during this scene.
See, I think the opposite. I feel like because I feel that Keanu and Chad would not care when or if you laugh at all, that anything that's funny to you is totally fine to them because they just know how cool everything else is.
Yeah. John jumping out of a building to finally get away from that whatever wave of people falling on the van. Ooh. That was a big oof moment.
Ouch.
Arrow into knee while Akira.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness gracious. And then lastly, the Frogger fight was almost my super pump.
It was so
when we're at the
sick, dude.
When we're at the Arc de Triomphe, the chaos, I was palm sweaty.
Same.
My face that entire scene was like,
yeah.
I was just like, oh God. Phenomenal.
The pistol duel.
It's in a roundabout. You have consistent traffic that never ends. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome. Sorry, go ahead.
The pistol duel fake out at the end was brilliant, and I loved it.
Ugh.
Tricking his ego into taking the pistol so that John could quote unquote legally kill him.
Yeah. What a flex. The boss fight was so slow, right? Compared to anything else. We used it completely. That's the thing. John Wick doesn't have one thing that makes it a great action movie. It can do any of it, right? Yeah. It's just showing all of its cards and being like, I'll give you an intense, slow fight.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. You know what I wanted so bad was John to get like shot in the eye. John Wick with an eye patch.
Be very cool.
Yeah.
I was ready for it.
Be very cool.
I think him and Kane could be making some jokes about how John's like half the man Kane is now or something like that. I don't know.
Kane, I'm half the man you are. I think if John gets shot in the eye, though, typically if you get shot in the eye, doesn't it go all the way throughout the back of the head?
Let's graze.
Well, Kane would know. Kane would know what to do. Trust me, I was trying to think of how we can make it happen.
Well, okay, it is time to rate John Wick 4. And we're going to do that using the scientific cinema scale, as always, which is perfect, and as follows. The best thing we could ever say about a movie is own it, don't lend it, buy that poster. The next best thing is buy it. That's followed by rent it, and then stream it. After that is forget it, and last but certainly least, the worst thing we could ever say about a movie. God hath forsaken us.
Best things about John Wick 4 is that it keeps all the same goodness. This was the most different from its previous installment of any installment that we've had so far, and it was because we built characters. We were able to do that. That's something that action movies are pretty lazy with sometimes. We're going to see Fast 10 to where we're going to build a character because he happened to be behind the safe that gets pulled out and then used as a weapon from car to car in like one installment of the franchise.
4 movies ago, yeah.
This movie was the most thoughtful installment.
Yep.
I think we got to see more layers of John in that, you know what? It's not just that he's the Baba Yaga, it's that he's a really good friend.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to help him. We got to see his friendship manifest in some really creative ways by the poster, John Wick Chapter 4.
Yeah, fair
I'm
enough.
also buying the poster for John Wick Chapter 4. This is like, I mean, every critic is saying this is the best action movie of the last decade, of the last 15 years. They're not wrong. Like, this is, like, I have never been on a movie theater roller coaster like John Wick 4.
Very good. Yeah, so upon further reflection, I think I can see the dialogue stuff that you're talking about, Carter. I think I can sort of hear it. It makes sense to me. I think it is a little cheesy and a little like trite.
Yeah.
And yet, even with that, and with any other flaw that might pop up as I reflect on it and get a little less hype on it because it's so fresh, it's still a poster, dude. Like,
yeah.
This movie is an experience that I think is 100% worth every minute that it takes to sit through.
Absolutely.
Every dollar that it takes to get a seat in the theater. I will, the moment this comes to stream, be watching it immediately. This is an instant recommend to basically anybody that likes action at all. This movie rules. It's a total poster.
Yeah. My guess is if y'all want to get in the John Wick-averse and you don't have Peacock, that's probably where it'll stream. I bet it, because the other three
others
are
all
right
on
now.
Peacock.
Yep, which is a bummer because Peacock has great content, terrible app. Terrible app. Buffers constantly. It's the worst. Fix your app, Peacock. You've got some of the best content out there. So, that's John Wick 4, guys. Can't believe we did it. Such a good movie. Please go watch it.
It caught me at a unique time for that dialogue. I bet now that you've heard it, you won't be able to not hear it. Like, I think the next time you watch it, you'll catch that.
Yeah,
it's not going to ruin the experience by any means.
I don't think anything could, honestly. If the movie was dead silent, like no dialogue, I think it would be almost as good as it is now, which probably speaks to the dialogue, but...
Yeah. It was like, you mentioned Commissioner Gordon, when it's like at the end of The Dark Knight when he's walking away.
Yeah.
That whole like...
Because we have to chase him.
And then Harvey Dent has his own thing too. It was like we did that 80% of the time.
100% of the time. Doesn't sound like a real conversation at all.
Still rules.
I don't care
Still
that
rules.
much.
Yeah,
If somebody released a movie called Donnie Yen Fighting Stuff, I'd pay full price.
That's the English
Yeah, for
translation
sure.
of Ip Man, actually.
Yeah, Donnie Yen Fighting Stuff. Yeah, fair enough.
Oh my gosh.
Well, that is it for John Wick, and that's the end of our John Wick series. I'm sad, but I'm glad to move on to what's next because I'm very excited in our Forgotten series where we will be discussing the movies you, our dear listeners, have voted upon, animation movies that aren't Disney. So, like we said, if you're making it to the end of this episode on release day and you haven't voted yet, go do that now. And if you haven't
got
gotten
a
your
couple
second
hours
vote in
left.
because you're not on Patreon, what are you doing? That's where all the cool kids are. Get over there. To end today's episode, I'd like for each of us to say our name and what weapon we would like to see Donnie Yen fight holding that we didn't see him fight. By the way, he used a pencil today.
He used a
He did.
pencil.
He did.
Love that.
He did use a pencil. What weapon would we like to see Donnie Yen wield as Kane in the next installment that is inevitable? For Two Chunks and Hunk, I'm Jordan Wonders. I'd like to see Donnie Yen kill some people with some food. Cram a banana down somebody's throat.
Well, if they're like allergic to shellfish, he could give them some shrimp.
Have him throw a lionfish at somebody's face. Ooh.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Stab somebody with a puffer fish.
Yeah. I don't know why it's all fish all of a sudden, but yes, that's what I would like to see.
Fish are the only food that I know. I'm Doge and whip.
Ooh.
We haven't seen too many like soft kind of weapons, like noodly kind of weapons, flexible weapons.
Pillows.
In John Wick.
Yeah. Hey, that's actually not true. John fought with a belt in John Wick 3.
Yeah, that's true. All right, John's already done it.
He's fought with a towel before too.
That's
he
true.
has fought with a towel before.
Like a frat boy in the locker room.
His sunshades. Crime Carter, his shades.
Cool.
Cram the arms into somebody's eye sockets.
Something like that.
Cool.
Can I say the coolest thing in any action movie, and Sonata does it so well, is the flick of the blood off your sword before you sheath it?
Oh.
Is that not the coolest thing in the world?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Just play Sekiro, and anytime you finish killing somebody, you flick all the blood off the blade, and it feels so sick.
Well,
Well,
maybe the real John Wick was Keanu Reeves.